Podcast, where truth moves faster than a Holstein calf. No waiting on some pretty page. We're charting new ground in the digital age. From genomic codes to row-wide facts, we cut through the noise, no holding back. Not your daddy's dairy news tonight. We're sparking debates with every insight. The ring's not where the real fight's at. It's in the data, in the channel chat. From pasture to processor to your morning cup, we're raising the stakes. Try and get ahead of herd. Yeah! Where the future's more than just a word. Ahead of herd. Come on! The Bullvine's calling, let your voice be heard.
Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, your source for unfiltered insight, real-world data, and practical strategies from the front lines of the dairy industry. I'm your host, and today we dive into one of the most important and contentious battles shaping the future of Holstein genetics. Are we unlocking new heights through genomics or risking our herd's long-term health with rising inbreeding and short-term decisions? We'll break down the science, the economics, and the real action plans that can put your dairy at the front of this genetic war. Whether you're a progressive producer looking to protect your long-term ROI or a breeding buff chasing the next big thing, this episode will give you the clarity and confidence you need to lead your herd into the future. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Bullvine Podcast, the show that digs deep into the topics that matter to dairy producers.
That's right. Today, we're tackling a really interesting feature article from the Bullvine that's got everyone talking. It's a pretty crucial piece, actually.
Yeah, it really is. And we're going to break it all down.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to truly unpack the current state of Holstein genetics.
We're going to zero in on, the inbreeding crisis that's become such a pressing concern, across the industry.
And explore its far-reaching economic impact, right, on individual farms.
And, most importantly, provide you with practical, actionable strategies for navigating these challenges in your own operation.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be pulling insights directly from comprehensive research and analysis featured right here on the Bullvine.
It's a topic that honestly demands our attention. Because while genomic selection has, without a doubt, brought incredible progress.
Almost revolutionary progress, yeah.
It really has. But it has also kind of inadvertently created this significant growing challenge that we just can't ignore.
Right. It's the other side of the coin. So we're going to unpack both sides of that for you today.
Give you a complete, nuanced picture of what's happening and, critically, what tangible steps you can take about it. Okay, so let's start with the part of the story everyone loves to celebrate, the incredible, almost dizzying pace of genetic progress we've witnessed over the last, couple of decades?
Yeah, exactly. The article points out that genomics has truly revolutionized dairy farming.
Oh, absolutely. Transformative for productivity.
You're absolutely right. And the numbers here aren't just impressive. They really tell a story of a fundamental shift in how we advance our herds.
Yeah.
Before the widespread adoption of genomics, say around 2005-2010, we were seeing annual genetic progress in net merit hovering, approximately $40 per year, specifically of $40.33.
Okay.
Post-genomics, that figure has pretty much doubled. It reached around $79.20 per year in the 2016-2020 period.
Doubled, wow.
Yeah. And some research even pegs it as high as $83.33 per year, up from that earlier, $36.90 figure.
That's not just incremental gain. It's a dramatic acceleration of genetic improvement.
It really is. A staggering leap in efficiency and potential profitability.
And it's not just about the dollar values. The article also talks about the generation interval.
Precisely. The generation interval, that's the time it takes for, one generation to replace the next in the breeding cycle that's seen an equally dramatic shift.
Okay, how dramatic?
Well, historically, before genomics, we were looking at over 10 years to bring new generations into the breeding pool, especially for those sire-to-bull pathways.
Right, that takes time.
It did. Today, that's dropped to a mere 2.5 years.
2.5 years, down from 10.
Yeah. Think about that for a moment. We've compressed a decade-long cycle into a quarter of the time.
That's lightning fast improvement.
It lets us stack genetic gains, build on improvements at an unprecedented rate, giving us more productive, more efficient animals much, much faster. It truly highlights the power of the tools we now have.
Wow, it's genuinely astonishing how fast those genetic gains are happening. But As we often see, such rapid progress usually comes with unforeseen consequences, doesn't it?
Yeah, it often does.
It seems like moving this fast might be creating other, maybe hidden issues beneath the surface.
That's an excellent point. You hit on something critical there. The sheer speed is what differentiates this from past challenges.
Right.
While we celebrate the doubling of annual net merit gain and the drastic reduction in generation intervals, what's happening in parallel is an acceleration of the inbreeding crisis.
Okay. So the efficiency cuts both ways.
Exactly. The same genomic efficiency that allows for rapid genetic improvement also allows for the incredibly rapid concentration of genetics from, well, just a few elite animals throughout the entire population.
It's a classic double-edged sword.
It is. And the speed of progress, paradoxically, can make the problem of inbreeding harder to spot initially because everyone is, rightly focused on those rising production numbers.
You see the milk, you don't necessarily see the underlying issue immediately.
Precisely. You might be seeing more milk in the tank, which is fantastic, obviously. Yeah. But underneath, other crucial traits like fertility, health, longevity, they could be subtly eroding without immediate, obvious signs.
It's like a silent squeeze on the herd's long-term resilience.
That's a good way to put it.
So with those staggering figures on genetic progress, it's tempting to just, pat ourselves on the back.
Right.
But as you mentioned, there's a darker side to that coin. So let's peel back another layer. What exactly is this inbreeding crisis? And when we look at the cold, hard numbers, how truly alarming is it for dairy producers?
The numbers are, frankly, alarming. They really should serve as a wake-up call. When you dig into the data, you find that genomic inbreeding in elite Holstein bulls surged. Get this. A staggering 168%.
168%.
Yeah. From approximately 5.7% in 2010 to a concerning 15.2% by 2020.
In just 10 years.
In just a decade. That's a massive rapid jump, and it reflects a deeply concerning trend in the breeding population that needs urgent attention. It's not just a slow creep. It's like a runaway train.
And it's not just the theoretical concern for geneticists, is it? The article emphasizes that the 6.25% danger zone is a recognized industry benchmark.
Right.
That's a critical threshold where inbreeding depression starts to show up as a real economic issue for producers.
That's absolutely critical to understand. When we talk about 6.25%, we're talking about the point where the negative effects of inbreeding start to noticeably impact performance and profitability across a herd.
Okay.
And the reality is, well, we're far beyond that threshold already. Young Holstein bulls born just in 2019, they already showed an average genomic inbreeding of 13.7%.
13.7? That's more than double the danger zone.
Exactly. It's a stark indicator of how deeply entrenched this problem has become in just a few years.
And the projection.
If these trends continue unchecked, industry projections suggest that average inbreeding levels could hit between 18% and 22% by 2030.
18 to 22%? That's nearly triple that recognized threshold.
Imagine the costs then. And this concentration isn't just about rising percentages. It's also reflected in a fundamental measure of genetic health, the effective population size, or NEC, for Holsteins.
What does that tell us?
It's currently at a historic low, ranging from a mere 43 to 66 animals.
43? That sounds small.
It is. For proper context, the minimum threshold for long-term genetic adaptability in a population, allowing it to respond to environmental changes, disease pressures, is generally considered to be 50 animals.
So we're below that, or right on the edge.
We're hovering right on or even below that critical line, putting the entire breed at risk. This creates what we call a dangerous genetic bottleneck.
Like a traffic jam for genes.
Kind of. Picture a vast genetic landscape suddenly funneling all its traffic down a single, narrow lane with no exit ramps. If there's a problem in that lane, or if the genetic vehicle isn't suited for a sudden turn, the entire population is at risk because diversity, its natural shock absorber, has been severely constrained.
That makes sense. No room to maneuver.
Exactly. And what's more, common metrics used to assess inbreeding, like expected future inbreeding or EFI, they can be really misleading.
How so?
Well, EFI is based on a reference population that is also becoming more inbred.
Oh, right. So the baseline is moving.
Precisely. It creates what we call a shifting baseline for EFI, which is particularly insidious. Imagine trying to measure a mountain's height, but the ground you're standing on is slowly sinking. Your measurement might look stable, but the mountain itself is still getting shorter relative to its original height.
Gotcha.
Similarly, if the genetic average is already getting more inbred, then a small increase in EFI can mask a far more alarming acceleration of inbreeding in the elite lines you're actually using and relying on.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. The EFI for the Holstein base population rose from 7.5% in 2015 to 9.4% in 2020.
Okay, seems like a small jump.
It looks like a small increase, right? But it's masking the accelerating problem within the elite lines, the very animals most producers are drawing from.
So that explains why some producers might have a gut feeling that something is off with their herd,
Exactly.
even when reported numbers seem acceptable or only slightly increased.
Your instincts might be picking up on the true acceleration of inbreeding in those elite genetics you're using.
And these aren't just abstract genetic percentages that we're talking about, are they? This has a real, tangible, and frankly, devastating cost
Oh, absolutely.
to the industry as a whole, and perhaps more importantly, to individual farms struggling to maintain profitability.
Absolutely. This isn't just about academic discussions of genetic health. It's about billions of dollars being lost. Academic research estimates total industry losses due to increased inbreeding at a staggering $3.6 to $6.7 billion.
3.6 to 6.7 billion.
Yes, just from 2011 to 2019 alone. That's a massive economic hit. And while it's an aggregate industry impact, it filters down directly to the farm level, affecting every producer's bottom line, whether they realize it or not.
So let's break that down. What does it mean for someone listening right now on their farm trying to run a profitable operation? What does this financial hit look like for an individual cow?
Right, so for every 1% increase in inbreeding, a cow's lifetime net merit value declines by an estimated $23 to $25.
23 to 25 bucks per percentage point.
Yep. Think about that across a herd of, say, 100 cows, and those small percentages add up fast. But it's not just an abstract net merit figure. It impacts specific economically crucial traits.
Like what?
Well, things that directly affect your daily operations and long-term profitability. For example, a 1% increase in inbreeding can lead to a reduction in lifetime milk production of 177 to 400 pounds.
Less milk.
Less milk.
Yeah.
Or if you look at it daily, that's 2 to 9 kilograms less milk in the tank. Fertility, a cornerstone of any successful dairy operation, is also hit hard.
Right, that's huge.
Yeah, calving intervals extending by 0.19 to 0.34 days per 1% in breeding. A cow's productive life, which directly correlates to her overall value, can be shortened by approximately 6 days per 1% in breeding.
6 days less productive life for every percent.
And when you consider a more significantly inbred animal, say one at 12.5% inbreeding, which remember is now below the average for young bulls, the impacts are even starker.
Okay.
A 4 percentage point reduction in survival to second lactation, a 1% increase in the incidence of stillbirth, and a 2% increase in the incidence of dystocia, meaning more difficult calvings.
So more vet bills, lost calves, cows leaving the herd sooner.
Exactly. These are direct, measurable reductions in your herd's performance and consequently your profitability. The bottom line here for you, the producer, is that every 1% increase in inbreeding acts like a silent tax on your herd.
Slowly but surely eroding profitability.
Yeah, across milk checks, replacement costs, overall herd health. It's death by 1,000 cuts, but the data clearly shows us where those cuts are bleeding.
And we've even seen historical examples of the immense risk when genetics become too concentrated, right? Like that Arlinda Chief bull.
Oh yeah, Pawnee Farm Arlinda Chief from the 1970s. A perfect, though tragic, example. He was one of the most widely used Holstein bulls of his time, renowned for production.
What?
But his genetics carried a single deleterious mutation, BLAD, bovine leukocyte adhesion deficiency. It was a genetic time bomb.
What did it do?
Daughters and sons inheriting this recessive gene had severe immune deficiencies, chronic infections, early death. The industry unknowingly propagated this mutation widely due to Chief's popularity.
So everyone was using him.
Exactly. It wasn't until researchers connected the dots that the true scale emerged. This single mutation ultimately caused an estimated 500,000 spontaneous abortions and nearly $420 million in losses.
500,000 abortions just from one bull's mutation.
Yeah. It highlights the catastrophic risk of relying on a narrow genetic base and the potential for one widely used bull to cause immense damage. Underscores the need for vigilance.
Wow. And what's fascinating and frankly quite problematic here is this concept of a negative externality.
Right. That's a key point the article makes. It creates what we call a negative externality, a fancy term for a simple truth. AI companies profit from selling top-ranking bulls. Market demand pushes them to produce the highest-ranking sires.
And they often use line breeding related animals to get there reliably.
Correct. They often engage in line breeding using elite, or related animals to reliably create those top performers. But the hidden costs: reduced health, lower productivity in those inbred progeny.
Those costs get pushed onto the farmer.
Exactly. Those costs are effectively externalized. They're pushed directly onto your farm, quietly eating into your bottom line through reduced milk yield, poorer fertility, increased vet bills. It's a multi-billion-dollar problem for the industry, but it lands squarely on the producer buying the semen.
And the speed of modern inbreeding, you mentioned tripling in a decade. That makes it worse.
It makes it uniquely dangerous, yes. In natural populations, harmful genes might eventually be purged through natural selection over many generations.
But we're moving too fast for that.
We're concentrating genetics so rapidly that this speed simply outpaces any natural purging mechanism. We're creating widespread inbreeding depression and potentially new genetic defects much faster than the breed can adapt or correct itself.
The genetic yardstick is shrinking faster than the population can evolve.
That's a great way to put it. It intensifies these risks rather than mitigating them. So for you, the listener, these aren't just statistics. These are direct reductions in profitability for your operation, affecting everything from milk checks to replacement costs and herd health.
It's a tough pill to swallow, hearing about those billions in losses and the erosion of genetic health. But it begs the question, how did our industry, which prides itself on scientific advancement, end up in this genetic bind?
Right.
It seems like there's more at play here than just random selection or simple breeding decisions, doesn't it? The article talks about sophisticated market dynamics and corporate strategies influencing the direction of genetics.
You're absolutely right. There's a powerful centralized force at work that underpins much of this, and that's the Council on Dairy Cattle Breeding, or CDCB.
CDCB.
They play a massive role. They manage what is essentially the world's largest dairy cattle database.
How big are we talking?
We're talking an astonishing 100 million animal records, with 10 million genotyped, collected from 72 different countries.
100 million records. Wow.
Yeah. This massive amount of data not only sets global benchmarks for genetic evaluation, but inevitably concentrates information and, by extension, breeding power in fewer hands.
Which has broad implications for the industry structure and genetic diversity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's truly a marvel of data collection, no doubt, a testament to scientific advancement in aggregating genetic information globally.
But as you say, this centralized database also means that information and breeding power are concentrated, which can lead to specific market behaviors and influence who has the advantage.
Precisely. While U.S. breeders might be in the driver's seat globally due to the sheer volume and depth of this data, this concentration also creates an environment where control over elite genetic lines can become highly centralized.
Right.
This structure allows for certain strategic maneuvers by companies that can significantly influence the genetic direction of the entire Holstein breed. It's not just about what individual farmers choose, it's about the bigger players shaping the available options.
And within that structure, companies like ST Genetics are actively building bulls, as the article puts it, not just breeding them in the traditional sense.
Yeah, that's a key phrase, building.
This isn't just about pairing a cow and a bull and hoping for the best. It's a much more engineered, almost industrial process. Tell us about the Captain example, because that's a fascinating and telling case study.
Captain is indeed the poster child for this new paradigm, and it's a perfect illustration of how modern breeding has become an aggressive, engineered approach. The CEO of ST Genetics himself publicly stated that Captain was not merely bred, but rather built through a decade of careful genetic strategy.
A decade?
Yeah. This wasn't a lucky mating. It involved meticulously planned proprietary matings, leveraging specific genetic combinations.
And advanced tech.
And the cutting-edge use of advanced reproductive technologies like in vitro fertilization, or IVF.
IVF, wow.
These techniques allow them to bypass traditional breeding timelines, navigate potential genetic pitfalls, and simultaneously amplify the desirable traits they're targeting with incredible precision and speed.
It's a very hands-on, almost laboratory-like approach to genetic design, a deliberate, almost architectural approach aiming for specific outcomes with a high degree of control.
Exactly.
And the article also highlights a specific, very strategic tactic they used with Captain's sire, Tango Sabre.
Ah, yes, Tango Sabre. That really underscores this proprietary approach to securing genetic advantage.
What did they do?
It's a prime example of strategic market dominance and demonstrates the depth of planning involved. Rather than widely marketing Tango Sabre, Captain's sire, to the broader industry, ST Genetics reportedly held him back from most public catalogs.
Held him back, so kept him private.
Essentially, yes. This wasn't an oversight. It was a calculated move, a strategic decision to gain exclusive use of his unique genetic potential. By controlling access to such a promising sire, they essentially secured a significant competitive advantage.
So they could make bulls like Captain without others using the same ingredients.
Pretty much. It allowed them to produce elite progeny like Captain without immediate competition from other AI companies vying for those same genetics. This focused, proprietary strategy ultimately allowed FT Genetics to achieve a historic dominance of the U.S. net merit list, cementing their position at the top.
And Captain was successful.
Immensely. Captain himself went on to achieve an incredible 7 consecutive #1TPI rankings and has over 39,000 genotype daughters globally. It demonstrates the huge success of such a concentrated, engineered approach.
So for you, the listener, this is about understanding the aggressive, engineered approach behind some of the top-ranking sires you see today.
Exactly. It's a very different game than traditional breeding that relied more on widespread progeny testing and open access.
But this idea of hidden or selectively distributed sires, where access is controlled, maybe even restricted, it's not entirely new in dairy breeding, is it?
No, you're absolutely right.
The article points to some fascinating historical precedents. It seems like this is an amplification of past strategies.
It's a classic playbook, but now it's on hyperdrive thanks to modern technology. This strategy of restricting access to promising sires has long been used for various reasons.
Like what?
To sharpen specific genetic lines, maybe conserve rare or unique genetics within a herd, or to commercialize elite genetic lines strategically for maximum return.
Okay.
Think of Round Oak Rag Apple, Elevation, Roar RE, a true legend in the Holstein breed from the 1970s.
Right, Elevation. Huge name.
Huge. His genetics were incredibly sought after, and his semen was tightly managed by his owner and by Select Sires, the cooperative that owned him.
So they controlled who got it.
They did. This controlled distribution allowed Select Sires and its members to gain a significant competitive advantage with early, sometimes exclusive, access to a bull who would become one of the most popular and respected sires in the breed's history. It amplified his influence and value for those who got in early. Created a tiered access system, really.
So it's always been about strategic advantage, controlling the flow of those elite genetics to benefit a select group or an individual operation initially.
Like building a genetic dynasty or securing a proprietary trade secret for a period.
That's a perfect way to put it.
And we see similar patterns with other historically significant sires across different breeds. Take Roy Brooks Starlight from Canada, for instance.
Okay.
Highly influential Holstein bull, but he was used almost exclusively in-house by Roy Brook Farm. Their goal was very specific. Intensify key genetic traits within their own herd.
Build their own distinct line first.
No, exactly. Create a powerful, distinct genetic foundation for their own program before his genetics were released more broadly. Allow them to achieve significant genetic consolidation internally and shape their herd's identity.
And Sonny Boy in the Netherlands.
Sonny Boy, yeah, the Dutch Friesian Holstein. Even though he eventually produced a world record 2 million doses of semen over his lifetime, his early distribution was highly rationed.
Rationed? Why?
And strategically targeted by his owner, CR Delta, initially due to supply constraints and his burgeoning reputation. This careful, controlled release optimized both the commercial returns and his overall influence on the breed, maximizing the value of those genetics.
So these historical cases clearly show that restricting access to promising sires has always been part of the playbook for competitive positioning.
Undeniably, it's a time-tested method for sharpening genetic lines and securing market advantage.
So if it's an old strategy with these historical precedents, what's really different now? Why is it reaching a crisis point today when these tactics have existed for decades in various forms? What's the fundamental shift?
The fundamental difference, and what makes this a crisis, is the scale and, critically, the speed.
Speed again.
Always comes back to speed. In the past, this was a slow, deliberate process, limited by the time required for traditional progeny testing and natural reproduction cycles.
Right, you had to wait for daughters to milk.
You'd have to wait for daughters to be born, mature, enter lactation to truly assess a sire's genetic merit. They could take years, sometimes 5, 7, even 10 years before a bull's true value was known and his genetics could be widely disseminated.
But now,
today, with genomic selection, IVF, sexed semen, that timeline has been compressed from years to mere months.
That's a monumental game changer. It means a company can act on genetic potential almost immediately.
Identify a valuable animal at birth rather than waiting years for phenotypic expression. the lag time is virtually eliminated.
Precisely. The technology is so efficient that it fundamentally alters the entire breeding landscape.
So a company can spot a winner at birth.
Identify a promising sire as soon as he's born, engineer a proprietary mating with other elite animals, and then, using these advanced reproductive technologies, flood the market with his genetics almost instantaneously.
Which accelerates that historical strategy to an unprecedented level.
Right, to a degree that simply wasn't possible before. Instead of gradually building influence over decades, we're seeing the rapid, almost instantaneous and dangerous concentration of a few select bloodlines throughout the entire Holstein population in a very short period.
And that's the crisis.
This rapid genetic concentration, driven by the hyper-efficiency of modern technology, is what has created the current inbreeding crisis. The technology is so incredibly efficient that it's actually outpacing the breed's natural ability to maintain sufficient genetic diversity,
Creating this genetic bottleneck and its associated problems at a pace we've never witnessed before.
Okay, this all sounds pretty bleak, outlining such a rapid and concentrated genetic landscape with significant economic costs. It's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed, honestly.
It can be, yeah.
But the article also offers solutions. It emphasizes what it calls the diversity dividend and how we can actively rediversify our herds. And a really fascinating discovery comes from the USDA gene bank that fundamentally challenges a lot of our current assumptions about what makes genetics elite.
This is truly the silver lining, and it's a powerful discovery that fundamentally shifts our perspective on genetic value. USDA researchers actually used frozen semen from Holstein bulls dating all the way back to the 1940s and 1950s.
Semen from the 40s. Wow.
Yeah, semen that had been stored in their gene bank for decades, largely forgotten, and the daughters they produced from these heritage genetics.
What happened?
They remarkably matched today's leading sires for production traits and, crucially, for vital traits like fertility and health.
Matched them on production, fertility, and health from 70-year-old genetics.
Exactly. This groundbreaking research really demonstrates that valuable traits, which we might have unknowingly lost or diminished in our relentless modern selection programs focused on pure production, are indeed preserved and fully functional in these older genetic lines. It's like finding genetic treasure hidden in plain sight.
So this isn't just about nostalgia or a historical curiosity for geneticists.
Not at all.
It's a direct scientific demonstration that there's tangible, valuable genetic material available that can actually compete with or even improve upon modern genetics, particularly in those fitness traits like fertility and longevity that are suffering so much from inbreeding depression.
It's a powerful argument for looking beyond the newest catalog rankings.
Absolutely. The research didn't just confirm production parity, it specifically highlighted that these older genetic lines matched modern genetics for production traits and, even more importantly, matched or even exceeded today's leading sires for fertility and health.
That's monumental. It challenges the prevailing mindset that newer is always better. It really does. It also revealed a startling fact about how narrow our current genetic base truly is. Get this. More than 99% of all known Holstein AI bulls trace their male lineage back to just 2 bulls born in the 1950s.
99% from 2 bulls.
Yeah, and if you go back further, all Holstein bulls are traceable to only 2 bulls from the late 1800s.
That's an incredibly narrow genetic base for such a dominant breed. Makes it highly vulnerable.
Extremely vulnerable. The USDA gene bank, therefore, stores these rare loss Y chromosome families that are now completely absent from modern Holsteins. It serves as a critical insurance plan for the breed, holding the keys to genetic resilience.
So it fundamentally challenges the market-driven assumption that only the newest, highest-ranking genetics are valuable.
Right. Diversity isn't just an abstract concept for conservation. It's a tangible, profit-driving asset that can bring back lost traits and dramatically improve herd resilience and long-term profitability.
So, beyond looking to the past, how can producers actively bring new genetics and more diversity into their herds now using current, readily available options? What are some practical strategies?
One of the most effective and immediate strategies, and one that has been proven globally, is through strategic crossbreeding.
Crossbreeding, okay.
This isn't just about introducing a new breed for the sake of it. It's about leveraging what we call hybrid vigor or heterosis.
Hybrid vigor, that gives a boost, right?
It provides an immediate boost in performance that often exceeds the average of the 2 parent breeds, particularly when those breeds are genetically distinct. It's like getting a free genetic boost.
And it's particularly impactful for the traits that inbreeding tends to depress, isn't it? Things like fertility, disease resistance, overall health.
Exactly. Those complex traits that are hard to select for directly and suffer most from a constricted gene pool. Hybrid vigor is most pronounced in fitness traits, things like fertility, disease resistance, general health, and longevity.
The exact things hit hardest by inbreeding.
Precisely. These are exactly the traits that are most negatively impacted by inbreeding depression in purebred Holsteins. So, by strategically crossbreeding with a complementary dairy breed, you can get an immediate, often dramatic, improvement where your herd needs it most.
Effectively counteracting the negative effects of inbreeding.
Right. We see excellent real-world examples in European programs. For instance, programs that have incorporated breeds like the Norwegian Red have shown significant success in improving fertility, boosting disease resistance, especially mastitis resistance, and enhancing udder health while maintaining strong production.
Norwegian Red, okay.
Those cows are simply more robust. Similarly, the New Zealand Holstein Friesian, a distinct genetic line selected over 100 years specifically for pasture-based systems, delivers high milk solids and exceptional longevity, thriving in environments where other breeds might struggle.
So these aren't just theoretical options, they are well-documented pathways.
They provide a viable route for you, the listener, to immediately improve your herd's resilience and profitability without necessarily sacrificing overall genetic merit. It's a way to introduce a controlled, beneficial outcross and inject that much-needed genetic diversity.
Okay, let's talk about something many producers are already doing, and that's beef on dairy. The numbers are huge.
Huge. Exploding, really.
And it seems like a smart short-term move for many farms struggling with profitability, but the article cautions that it can also be a trap if not managed correctly.
It's definitely an economic no-brainer in the short term, which is why we've seen such explosive growth and widespread adoption. The numbers are undeniable. Beef semen sales to dairies shot up from, 2.54 million units in 2017 to a staggering 7.9 million in 2023.
Wow, tripled.
Yeah. Other NAAB data shows an even wider increase, from a mere 1.2 million units in 2010 to 9.4 million in 2023.
9.4 million units.
This isn't a niche trend. Approximately 72% of U.S. dairy farms now incorporate beef genetics into their breeding program.
72%. That's most farms.
It is. And the economic logic is clear and compelling. Beef crop calves can command a premium of $350 to $700, sometimes even over $1,000.
Compared to maybe $150, $500 for a Holstein bull calf?
Exactly. That's a significant immediate cash infusion for a dairy, making it an attractive short-term solution for managing unwanted bull calves.
Those numbers are undeniably compelling for a producer looking at their immediate bottom line. But you mentioned the trap. What exactly makes this widespread practice a risk long-term?
The trap is that while it provides an immediate financial gain, it has significant long-term detrimental risks for the Holstein breed as a whole, and ultimately for your own herd's future viability.
How so?
By breeding a substantial and increasing portion of the herd to beef sires, producers are effectively reducing the number of purebred dairy females available to contribute to the next generation of Holsteins.
Fewer replacements being born.
Exactly. This further shrinks the purebred genetic pool, intensifying that genetic bottleneck we discussed earlier, and accelerating the very inbreeding crisis that can make dairy animals less profitable in the first place.
It creates a self-perpetuating, vicious cycle.
It really does. Inbreeding makes more cows less profitable as dairy producers, which in turn pushes more producers towards beef on dairy as a fallback, further shrinking the available dairy gene pool. We're essentially accelerating the decline of the purebred dairy population without realizing the full long-term cost.
And this impacts replacement heifer economics directly.
Dramatically. The supply of dairy heifers weighing 500-plus pounds reached a 47-year low. Projected 3.914 million head for 2025.
47-year low.
Yeah. This scarcity is driving prices through the roof. National average dairy replacement values hit $2,660 per head by early 2025.
$2,660.
And some markets are seeing springers approach an astonishing $4,000 per animal.
$4,000 for a springer?
We even saw Wisconsin replacement prices jump a shocking 69% from $1,999 to $2,850 between October 2023 and October 2024.
Record highs. We're creating a shortage.
We're inadvertently creating a severe shortage of quality dairy replacements, while simultaneously eroding the genetic base for our future dairy herds. It's a short-term gain for a long-term, costly problem.
So what's the smarter way?
The smarter beef on dairy approach, as highlighted in the article, is to be highly strategic and data-driven. Instead of breeding just any low-end dairy female to beef,
Use genomics.
Use genomics to identify females with genuinely poor dairy genetics, those that have very little genetic potential to be profitable dairy cows for beef-on-dairy breeding. Michigan State research shows an additional $250 plus per crossbred calf with this targeted method.
Okay, target the worst for beef.
And reserve your precious sex dairy semen for your most elite females, those with the highest genetic potential to become the future of your herd.
So it turns a potentially self-destructive trend into a disciplined, data-informed strategy.
Exactly. Maximize profitability without eroding the future genetic potential of your dairy herd. It's about precision over broad stroke application, ensuring every breeding decision is intentional and optimizes your herd's future. #actionable insights.
Okay, so after all that incredibly detailed and frankly somewhat sobering information about the inbreeding crisis, the economic costs, the corporate strategies, what's the key takeaway for a farmer listening today?
Right.
What can they do right now on their farm to navigate this complex genetic landscape and ensure the longevity and profitability of their operation? Where do they begin?
The core message is absolutely clear. Genetic management needs to be proactive, strategic, and most importantly, data-informed.
Data-informed, okay.
Starts with a crucial mindset shift. Seeing genomic testing not as an expense, a line item to cut, but as a critical, profitable investment in the future health and productivity of your herd.
Treat it like an investment.
It's about leveraging information to make smarter decisions.
That's a significant shift in mindset for many producers, viewing a test as an investment rather than a cost center. So for a producer considering this, what's the actual quantifiable return on that investment? Can they truly expect to see those dollars come back?
The cost-benefit analysis for genomic testing is incredibly compelling, and the dollars absolutely come back. A heifer test typically costs anywhere from, say, $33 to $50 per animal.
33 to $50.
Yeah, which for a calf might seem like a lot. But that initial investment yields a significant positive return, often within just 2 breeding cycles.
2 cycles, how much return?
Research indicates that genomic testing can boost a herd's overall genetic merit by as much as $400 over those 2 cycles.
$400.
And can cut your replacement cost by a significant 35%. This is a direct, measurable financial return that goes straight to your bottom line.
Why is it so effective?
The reason for this boosted ROI is the dramatic increase in selection accuracy that genomics provides. You're looking at 55% to 70% accuracy for genomic predictions.
Versus what for traditional pedigrees?
Versus only about 35% for traditional pedigree-based methods.
Big difference.
Huge. This dramatically improved accuracy empowers you to make far more confident culling and breeding decisions. You can confidently identify your lowest-ranking animals with poor genetic potential for dairy and channel them into that smarter beef-on-dairy program, maximizing their value.
And breed from the best.
Conversely, you identify your highest potential animals for breeding the next generation of replacements, ensuring you're building a truly elite herd. It also allows for the early detection of recessive disorders and harmful haplotypes.
Things like HH1 to HH6, HMW.
Exactly. Catching these early prevents costly reproductive failures, stillbirths, and calf losses down the line, saving you thousands. So for you, the listener, this is a clear, proven path to turning raw genetic data into actual dollars and cents on your farm year after year.
Okay, so that's the big picture of why genetic testing is so important long-term. But what are some short-term, concrete tactics a producer can implement, say, in the next month or quarter? What are those first practical steps?
Immediately, you need to demand transparency from your suppliers.
Transparency? How?
Insist that your AI companies provide you with up-to-date inbreeding reports on the progeny of the sires being sold. Not just a single, potentially misleading index number for the bull himself.
You need the inbreeding of the calf from that mating.
Exactly. You need to know what the offspring of a specific mating will actually look like in terms of inbreeding, not just general averages. This precise data is crucial.
What else?
You should also calculate your current herd average inbreeding. You can do this using your existing DHIA records, or ideally your CDCB genomic parentage records, to get the most accurate picture.
Know your starting point.
Right. Once you have that baseline, when you're making breeding decisions, be strategic and disciplined. Refuse any matings that would push the progeny's inbreeding coefficient above that 6.25% danger zone.
Stick to that 6.25 limit for the calf.
Remember, it's the specific matings inbreeding you're focused on, not just the parent averages, which can sometimes lull you into a false sense of security.
Okay. Anything else short term?
To diversify risk and avoid putting all your eggs in one genetic basket, try to buy semen from at least 3 different AI companies.
Don't rely on just one supplier.
Right. This avoids dependence on a single genetic pipeline and exposes you to broader genetic diversity. And definitely start exploring European outcross options.
Like the Norwegian red you mentioned.
Yeah, as they can introduce new bloodlines with documented value for health and longevity traits that might be lacking in the highly inbred North American Holstein population. Finally, make it a non-negotiable part of your budget to plan for genomic testing of every replacement heifer you plan to keep.
Budget for testing every heifer.
At $35 to $50 per sample, it's an investment that pays for itself quickly, allowing you to cull effectively and breed strategically from day one. These are immediate, practical steps you can take.
And looking beyond those immediate actions for the long game, what should producers be focusing on to build a truly resilient, profitable operation? What's the strategic long-term play?
For long-term resilience and sustained profitability, a disciplined, targeted beef on dairy strategy is absolutely key.
Targeted, using genomics.
Precisely. Using beef semen only on genomically verified poor dairy genetics, those animals you're testing has identified as having very low genetic potential for profitable milk production. This strategic approach, supported by university research, lets you maximize profitability by turning low-potential dairy animals into high-value beef on dairy calves.
Instead of losing money on them or flooding the replacement market.
Exactly. Rather than contributing to the oversupply of low-quality dairy replacements or continuing to lose money on unproductive dairy animals.
What about crossbreeding long-term?
You should also seriously consider piloting crossbreeding for, say, 20% to 30% of your herd.
A pilot program.
Yeah. This allows you to test the benefits of hybrid vigor with other complementary dairy breeds like Norwegian Red or Jersey. Evaluate their performance in your specific environment and management system. See firsthand how they impact fertility, health, and profitability before expanding.
Test it on your own farm first.
It's a controlled way to introduce that much-needed diversity and build a more robust, profitable herd. Beyond your farm, actively engage with university extension programs and CDCB information sessions.
Get unbiased information.
These are independent, unbiased sources of research and guidance on managing inbreeding and exploring alternative strategies. They provide a vital counterpoint to commercial marketing claims, invaluable resources for long-term strategic planning.
And the financial impact of doing this, managing inbreeding down.
It can be truly substantial, transformative for your farm. For example, by diligently dropping your herd's average inbreeding from, say, a concerning 13% down to a healthier 8%. That can mean an additional $75,000 to $94,000 in better cow value across your entire herd.
$75,000 to $94,000.
Yeah, and that's after adjusting for the initial semen and testing costs. That's not just a marginal gain. That's a powerful incentive for managing your genetics like a long-game business.
Okay, so here's a thought to chew on as you go about your day. The choice you make today for your herd's genetics is a direct vote for the kind of dairy animal, and indeed the kind of dairy industry we'll have in 2035.
That's a powerful way to put it.
Are you simply chasing the highest catalog rankings from a handful of elite, potentially over-related sires, accepting the hidden costs of inbreeding? Or are you managing your genetics like a savvy, long-game business owner, diversifying risk, investing in data, and optimizing for the long-term health, resilience, and lifetime value of every single cow in your herd?
Yeah, the future of your farm and perhaps the breed itself depends on those decisions.
Great points and a powerful thought to leave our listeners with.
And that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. For more articles, in-depth research, and insights like these, be sure to visit us at www.thebullvine.com.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss another deep dive into the topics that matter most to dairy producers. Thanks for listening.
That wraps up this episode of the Bullvine Podcast. If you found today's insights valuable, make sure you subscribe, share, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. For data tables, referenced research, and more actionable strategies, visit us at www.thebullvine.com. Remember, your breeding choices today shape not only your profits, but the future of the Holstein breed for years to come. Make them count. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep those cows and those numbers moving forward.